What's up, everybody? I'm Matrix Andrea, and we're going to be continuing our playthrough of Dark Souls 2 New Game Plus. Today we're going to be going into the Crown of the Iron King. So first, my stats. And then my gear. And then let's move on into this. I'm in the Iron Keep right now. This is the primal bonfire behind where you fought the old Iron King. And the key to get into this DLC you get from the Forest of the Fallen Giants, where the flame salamanders are. You drop down or you open up that door with the iron key, and you go pick up the heavy iron key, and then you can open up the DLC door. So about this DLC, I'm going to run all the way up to Broom Tower, and I'll probably light it up with the fire and get all the machinery working, and then I'll end the episode there because it's going to get pretty long. I'm not going to pick up all of the items, and I'm not going to destroy all of the Nadalia statues either. I'm just going to do the ones that I need to do to get through the stage that I'm doing. So the smelter wedges will open up they let you destroy the Nadalia statues, and there are 12 of them in the stage, and every time you destroy one of those Nadalia statues, you get a piece of her soul. When you destroy all 12 statues, you can get her entire soul, and then you can trade that with Ornifex or Straight, and you can make a couple of different things. I'm not actually sure if the DLC spells count towards the trophy for Pyromancy or any of the other magics, because I did this in the first game cycle when I played back in early 2015, right after the game released. And that's one of the Nadalia statues. Each one of them does something different. That one casts like Firestorm on you. Some of them buff enemies. Some of them curse you. Some of them revive enemies when you kill them. So it's a good idea to know which ones you need to take out and kill. From the very start here, you can get the dexterity ring, but I've already got it, so I'm not going to pick it up again. But if you search around towards the beginning, you can find it. As usual, it's a good idea to wear the stone ring so that you can stagger these enemies, and they come up out of the ashes. Best way to take these guys out: roll backstabs, just like before with the last DLC, because these guys are pretty poise stacked, so this is just the most efficient way to kill things. In some of these ash, people, when you break them, they drop items, so just run around and knock yourself into them. Down here there's a great big ambush, so good idea. Fight these guys on the hill. Take care of them one at a time, fast as you can. And admittedly, sometimes when I try to do roll backstabs, I roll too late for when they swing at me. So that's why I use a shield. I'm not going to pretend like I'm one of those super duper great at least on the internet, when people brag about how great they are to play without a shield. I have a shield, so I definitely use it. And you'll always see me using one here because I think it's stupid not to use a shield, and it's just inviting the enemy to stun lock you and get you killed. And you can run around some of these rings here on the pillar and pick up a few items. Stuff's not important to me because I've already done this before, and I picked up all that I needed from the first game cycle, and that was a total accident. So there's another Nadalia statue in here, and this one buffs the enemies. So just be careful. Try to take these guys out before it starts buffing the enemies. There's a couple of guys in this door right here too. So I'm going to try to pull one. I'll kill him, and then I'll run in there and kill the other one. And because I'm doing nothing but backstabbing these guys, the mace does a lot better job than a sword. Just keep that in mind. That item right there is one of the pyromancies that you can get in this DLC. When you get too close to that statue, that's when it buffs the enemies. So if you stay far enough back, you can just try to pull the enemies one at a time before it turns into a problem. Also, like I said before, I never played this DLC back when it was new. Instead, I didn't play any of these DLC areas until Scholar came out because I had a marked disinterest in Dark Souls 2 when this stuff was brand new. Fortunately for me, this guy never pays attention, but he'll probably turn around when I get close enough to him. Yep, there we go. Lucky for me, I got the backstab anyway. And then when you come out here, you can go straight over here, but there's actually ambush in the ash over here. So I'll drag these guys up, and there's actually a hidden door down at the bottom. I will actually pick up the treasure that's in there because unless I'm remembering wrong, there's some not necessary but useful items in there. So we'll pick that stuff up and see what it is. I can't remember offhand. So I don't know what From was thinking with these enemies. All of the enemies in these DLCs, they're pretty poised, stacked, and it's like they're just inviting you to do roll backstabs on them. So it's fairly easy to pull off, and it's just the most efficient way to do it. So if you've got the iframes for it, roll through their attacks and, you know, get that backstab. Also, the thing about using a mace, strike weapons in Dark Souls 2 have a huge advantage over like slashing weapons like swords. So the damage you get from a backstab, it goes through the roof in comparison. Alright, so these little pot guys here, they'll walk into fires and they explode, so be careful about them too. You can kill them, but usually there's fire around, and you can just make them walk into a fire and get themselves killed. And sometimes regular enemies will kill themselves. These archer guys, they always give me a hard time when I'm fighting with them. Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping for right there. So when you come down here, there's a few enemies on each one of these levels, so just be careful. Be aware that they're over here, and then you can kill them. Yeah, this one here, there's actually a guy that throws things at you, and then there's the axe guy here too, so I gotta take care of this axe guy quick. Because there's that guy right over there. And I'm pretty sure that all that's in that chest is a castus, or cestus, however you pronounce it. So I don't care if I break it, I just want to kill that guy so he'll stop throwing at me. And got a bonfire right here, and then I'm pretty sure we go into that room behind where I am right now. Alright, so right now I'm inside Broom Tower. None of it's lit up yet. Nothing's moving. There's an item that you have to pick up in one of the towers, and it lights up the main tower. And then you can start riding the lifts up and down. Now, this area, there's these barrel guys. And there's also these drop-offs. Little trap doors that they can fall through. And I'm going to push them towards those doors so that they fall into that room, because there's a really big guy that bleeds out lava from his armpit, and if I'm lucky I can either poison the enemy or make these guys blow up next to him, because going down into that room is just absolute suicide. There's a bunch of broom soldiers in there. And it's just a mess trying to deal with these guys, so I'm going to try to poison what I can. And you gotta love that last gen collision detection. See, it perfectly goes through this dude's legs, but you know, that wall is longer than it looks like it should be. And this guy still isn't poisoned yet. Holy shit. Alright, so that's one. They're a little bit easier to poison in the Crown of the Ivory King. But in the Iron King DLC, it takes a little bit more to get them going. Yeah, and I was hoping that... Yeah, good. Alright, so good. You see how much damage it did to the big guy? And hopefully I can shoot him and get him poisoned too, because that's a good way to safely take them out. And that's actually a way that I do it when I'm getting into some of the more sticky areas in this DLC. Once he dies, I can go down there and fight with whatever enemies are left over. Excellent. Shit. Okay, this is the guy that I was looking for. Then I've got this asshole archer over there, so I'm going to block his hit and use a life gem, and then I'll run over there and get him. And then you've got that jerk up top that's throwing fire bombs, so you got to be careful about him too. And this is another Nadalia statue that buffs the enemies. But I'm going to take care of this guy before I do the smelter wedge on it. You start out with 6 smelter wedges, but the game gives you 4 more in this area, so that you can turn off a few more statues. So you got to be careful which smelter wedges and which statues you shut down before you fight the Fume Knight. Otherwise, fighting the Fume Knight with those statues still active is serious trouble. And I'm going to guess that these guys are strong against dark because I'm really not doing any kind of damage to this guy. I don't like fighting these guys. They're tough for me to know what they're doing while I'm fighting them. But I guess that'll do for now. The next area, there's a lot of long-range enemies and the pathway is narrow, so they're all going to get poisoned because it's the most efficient, safest way to take care of them. These sorceress ladies up on the ledge, they'll shoot lightning balls at you, and they also can teleport while they're trying to melee with you. But what I want to do is, make all of the enemies spawn. They come up out of the ash, and they won't come any further than where you see me. So it's pretty safe to just stand back here and shoot arrows or poison arrows, really just to let them die. Sometimes the enemies will aggro and then they'll come a little bit further forward than they're supposed to, but I can live with that. It's generally pretty safe back here, so this is just the way that I always do it. Totally pointless because he was dead by the time that actually crushed him into the ground. Alright, yeah, there's one more of those sorceress over there, so I'm going to poison her too, because fighting with them face to face can be a real hassle, and I can't see because of that lightning ball that exploded. Once I get her poisoned, I'll run over there and fight. You'll notice that okay. Yeah, I'm just going to let the poison kill her now. That's one of the reasons I don't like to fight with them. You'll notice that they place items on edges, like right there. Kind of like bait to get you knocked over the side. So just be careful. Anytime you see something like that in a Souls game, especially Dark Souls 2 and 3, it's just a bait to knock you over the side. So be careful. See, I was totally beside him and it turned into a backstab anyway. I'm not going to say that I understand that because I don't. Alright, so this is the foyer level of Broom Tower, and there's a bonfire over here, and if you run around the edges, you'll, well, I'll just show where it is. That's the Magic Quartz Ring +3, definitely worth picking up. And I'm trying to move fast so that my recording software doesn't decide to crash, and hopefully it won't while I'm doing this. Okay, so this is absolute trouble right here. You can open up this hallway right here and turn it into a shortcut. There's a lot of those exploding barrel guys in there. And in one of these hallways, there's a broken wall. And you can get a couple of pieces of the Katarina armor set. But not this hallway, it must be the other one. she'll teleport behind you if you're not careful. And it's just a good idea to hit these bull statues because they'll breathe fire while they're going down the hall, and you can get the fume sorceress to take damage from the fire while it's spraying out. And poison arrows are just king in this game. Okay, so that one got killed by the fire. I'm going to poison the other one. And these enemies are beyond annoying because getting shot from long range and staggered, definitely not cool. Yes, I know I'm doing the same thing to them, but I'm the human player and they're the computer, so I don't care what happens to them. Alright, so up over here, you can see where these messages are, and you can see that the wall looks broken. If you lead one of those barrel guys over to that wall, you can blow it up, and some of the fume, or not fume, but some of the Katarina sets in there. I think it's the arms and legs. Oh, shit, shit, shit. I didn't want these guys to blow up next to me. Maybe they can blow up next to him, and yeah, that was good. Alright. Yeah, and they blew up the wall too, so you can see the treasure chest in there. And then there's a couple of pieces of Katarina armor. The helmet is in the Sunken King DLC, and then I think it's the arms and legs that are in this DLC. And then you get the body piece in the Crown of the Ivory King. And there's a shortcut over here that you can open, so I'm definitely going to do that, just in case I die. Now over here you run across this chain, and this is the tower where you get the piece that lights up the main part of Broom Tower. There's a lot of fat crawling enemies in here, and they'll jump on you, but you can set them on fire and then they'll explode, and it just kind of saves you the trouble of having to do it yourself. They take a lot of damage too, so this is just the easiest way to handle it. Yeah, there's one of them right now. So I'm probably going to get jumped on. It always guard breaks you when that happens. But if you just, get close enough, they do that and then they explode most of the time. Sometimes they light themselves up like they're going to explode and then they won't. And then there's those urns, and you can light the area up so you can see what you're doing. Now when they blow up, they set their friends on fire, so if you don't have tons of fire arrows, that's one way to handle it. I got a fire longsword, but I mean, I'd rather shoot these guys from range so I don't have to deal with them jumping on me a lot of times, even though they do it anyway. And it, like I said, it'll guard break you pretty much instantly. I never play this game with a great shield anymore, so I don't know if a great shield will totally block their jump. But I'm using the defender shield, and it never does. And you get invaded by Quicksword Rachel here, and there's such a cheap way to kill her, and I'm gonna do that because she's annoying. She buffs her weapon with like every different type of buff that you can use on it. Also, I'm going to see if I can poison her, but you can just make her walk through the fire and she'll take damage doing that because she's an idiot. Yeah, good, she's poisoned, but she can also walk through that fire and take damage doing that too. And the poison ran out, so I'm going to poison her again if I can. Alright, and it worked. Between that and her walking into the fire, she'll be dead in just a minute. The thing is, these goddamn NPC invaders and a lot of the enemies in anything higher than New Game have so much health that there's no real point to fighting them. It turns into an aggravation. Alright, so I didn't want to waste my time going through all of these different doors because some of them are dead ends. There's some with, you know, treasure, but I just wanted to get through the one where I can get that item to light up Broom Tower. And yeah, that's the right room, so I'm going to give this message a thumbs up. And down here in this room, there's a whole bunch of these fat guys like sitting around worshiping this thing. So you can just light them up. I want them to blow up next to their friends so that I don't know if you keep shooting them with fire arrows. And yeah, there he goes. He looked like he was gonna blow up, but he did the trick tactic to where he didn't. So when they're on fire, you take damage just from proximity, so it's not even really worth meleeing with them. You may as well just, you know, bait them into exploding. You know, stand close enough to them until they decide that they're going to light themselves up and do that. And it's just the most efficient way to handle it. Alright, so one more. And then we grab this item, the Scorching Iron Scepter. There's a way out from here. If you go this way, you can ride the elevator, but what's the point? I'm just going to use the feather, and then we'll go straight back to the bonfire and light up Broom Tower. So give me just a second. Okay, so now we're back here in Broom Tower. I'm going to light this place up, and then I'll end the episode from there. So with the Scorching Iron Scepter, you stick it in here. And then voila, the whole place will light up in just a second. The statues come down and then the lifts start going up and down too. So that's the first half of this stage done. So when I do the second part, I'm going to fight the Fume Knight, and I'm also going to fight Sir alone, even though I don't really like that boss. I'm going to skip over Smelter 2.0 because I think the area that you have to run through to get to him is terrible. And it's just the Smelter Demon. He's a little bit different. He's magic based, but I'm going to skip him altogether because I don't feel like doing that. So, that said, I hope everybody's enjoyed watching. Thank you all for coming with. And I will see everybody again next time.